What's good, guys? Fantasy Joe back here with our Week 5 wide receiver rankings, half point PPR. As always, if you guys are new to the channel, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you have any start sit questions or any fantasy football questions in general, leave them in the comment section down below. I'll respond as always. Let's hop into these rankings. So at 1, we've got Cooper Kupp facing off against Seattle. Kupp's coming off a disappointing week, but he had 13 targets in that last week. Ton of air yards. I still am going to keep playing Cooper Kupp every week. 2, we've got Devonta Adams against Cincinnati. Same thing, getting a ton of targets. I am very comfortable with Devonta Adams, even though the touchdowns haven't been there yet. I expect them to come with that target volume he gets and that connection he has with Aaron Rodgers. At 3, I've got Tyreek Hill against Buffalo. We saw what happened with him last week. Blew up. He's a stud. You're playing him. Diggs against Kansas City. This one might be a surprise. I just think we saw what Devonta Smith did to the Chiefs. I think Diggs can do even more. I think this is going to be a good game. And I think he's going to get double-digit targets. DJ Moore against Philly. I have at 5. He's been balling all year. Start DJ Moore. DK Metcalf in that Thursday night matchup against the Rams clocks in at number 6. I think he is a good play this week, knowing that the Seattle's going to keep up with that Rams offense. Hopefully he doesn't get Jalen Ramsey exclusively the entire game, but Jalen hasn't been shadowing a ton of players thus far this year. At 7, we have Justin Jefferson against Detroit. Pretty easy explanation there. Detroit's struggling. Their secondary is pretty banged up. At 8, we have Devos Samuel against Arizona. Debo has been dominant. I think there will be a few more manufactured touches for him in this game with Trey Lance starting, but I still think he's going to get the ball regardless. At 9, I've got Terry Mclaurin against New Orleans. Not the best matchup, but Terry is Taylor's guy, and I think he's going to continue to get a lot of targets. We saw what he did last week, absolutely blew up. A.J. Brown, assuming he plays, I have him as a top 10 play against Jacksonville. I just don't think they're going to be able to bring him down, to be quite honest with you. Tyler Lockett at 11, similar thing to DK Metcalf. I think they're going to keep up. I think it could be a big Tyler Lockett week this week. 13 or 12, Calvin Ridley against the Jets. Ridley has still been getting a lot of targets, a lot of air yards. I expect those to turn into fantasy points very soon. DeAndre Hopkins against San Francisco. I know the target volume hasn't been there, but I think some of that has to do with that rib injury he's fighting through, and I do expect him to be good against this San Francisco defense. That secondary is struggling, to say the least. At 13, we have Keenan Allen against Cleveland, and at 15, I got Mike Williams against Cleveland. Keenan Allen had the lead in targets last week, but Mike Williams has been getting a ton every week before that. I expect him to bounce back. Both of these guys, I have his top 15 plays, and I'm ready to fire them both up. Deontay Johnson at 16 against Denver. Not a great matchup, but I have faith in Deontay. He's hyper-targeted, been good in every game that he's actually suited up for, so roll him out there. Mike Evans against Miami. Received a ton of targets last week. Miami does have a good secondary, but he's that jump ball guy in the red zone, especially with Gronkowski out. At 18, I got CeeDee Lamb against the Giants. Think he gets it going this week in a matchup where I think, he's got a good advantage. At 19, we got Chris Godwin against Miami. Godwin, I think, will get more targets this week than he did last week, and he wasn't bad necessarily last week. A little disappointing, though. At 20, we've got Brandon Cooks. I know Cooks had a bad week last week. I do think you did adjust your expectations with Davis Mills. That's just natural, though, when you have a backup quarterback. Amari Cooper at 21 against the New York Giants. I think he had a good game last week. Now that he looks healthy, I think he's going to be ready to rock and roll. Jamar Chase at 22 against Green Bay. Green Bay's banged up in the secondary right now. Jamar Chase is a great player. You're rolling him out there every week. Marquis Brown at 23. He's been very good for fantasy this year. Indianapolis does not scare me, so I'm playing him. Adam Thielen against Detroit. This is just because of target volume. I still think he has great touchdown upside. They just might run him in this week, or they might throw it to Justin Jefferson instead. At 25, Marvin Jones against Tennessee. This is a guy I would love to play this week. Think he's going to get a good amount of targets, especially with the injury to DJ Chark. Julio Jones at 26 against Jacksonville. Just don't know how long the Tennessee Titans are going to be throwing. That's why he's at 26. Michael Pittman against Baltimore has been getting a lot of targets from Carson Wentz. And I think that continues, especially in a game where they could be down potentially. At 28, I've got T. Higgins against Green Bay. Similar reasons to Jamar Chase, banged up secondary. He's got great touchdown upside. At 29, I got Antonio Brown against Miami. Saw him involved last week with Rob Gronkowski out. I think he's a guy you can flex or play on wide receiver 2 spot every game that Gronk's out, and then even after that probably. 30, I've got Emmanuel Sanders against Kansas City. I think he's a great play, especially in daily. I think this is going to be a shootout game, and I'd be excited to start Emmanuel Sanders. At 31, we got Robert Woods against Seattle. Sean McVay came out this week and said they need to get him more involved, and that's on him. So I kind of buy into that narrative a little bit. Like I said, I don't think it's going to be the floodgates is open in Robert Woods' season, but I think he'll be better this week and better moving forward. At 32, we got Odell Beckham against the Los Angeles Chargers. Got a bunch of air yards. If Baker hits him on that last one, he'll be fine. I think eventually that touchdown comes and he'll have a good game. Corey Davis at 33, great matchup with Atlanta. I would love to play Corey Davis this week. At 34, we got Sterling Shepard against Dallas, assuming he plays. I think he could have a good game. I expect the Giants to be down and throwing. Jacoby Myers against Houston. He's down this far because I don't think the Patriots are going to have a ton of passing volume, and he doesn't exactly run very deep down the field to make it count. Cortland Sutton against Pittsburgh. You can start Jacoby Myers, though. Cortland Sutton against Pittsburgh. This is just Drew Lock being the starting quarterback. If Teddy's ready to go, I definitely bump him up. Devonta Smith against Carolina. I know they've got C.J. Henderson, and now they've got Stephon Gilmore, although he's not going to be playing this week, obviously. But I still think you can play Devonta Smith coming off a good game against Kansas City. Tyler Boyd coming off another good game against Jacksonville. You can suit him up against Green Bay. I just don't know if he gets the same type of target volume we've seen him get the last 2 weeks with T. Higgins fully healthy. Although we don't know T. Higgins is going to be fully healthy for sure, so keep an eye on that situation. If Higgins is out, Boyd gets a big bump up into the top 30 for sure. At 39, I have Allen Robinson against Las Vegas. Justin Fields is now the starter. He has looked for Darnell Mooney a lot more than Robinson. I don't have much faith in A-Rob, to be honest with you, or Justin Fields in that combination. Still think Allen Robinson's extremely talented. Better days are yet to come, but Justin Fields definitely hurts his fantasy value. Kenny Galladay at 40, matching up with Dallas. Think you can play him. And then 41, the last player got ranked, Jameson Crowder against Atlanta. Got good target volume last week playing that slot role, taking over for Braxton Berrios, who was getting targeted before as well. I think those targets continue and think you can roll him out there this week in daily formats or if wide receiver formats if you're desperate. If you guys are new to the channel, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you have any questions, start sick decisions, leave them in the comment section down below. I'll respond as always. This has been Fantasy Joe. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.